What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to take you through exactly why I cannot wait to bulk, but not for the reasons you think. Now, we all know there's a ton of reasons to bulk. Get swole, get jacked, walk through doors sideways, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I would do on a bulk. But before we get into that, let me give you some context of where I've been at. So for the past 6 months, roughly, I've been on a cut. I'm down about 12 kilos, and in the next 6 weeks, I should be able to drop another 4 to 5 at least. I've gone through various stages in this diet, some with a few more nights out and a few more birthdays involved, and some with a little bit more cardio involved and a little bit more aggressive dieting, which is at the stage I'm at right now. Now, my first child is due on the 15th of July, and so I have until then to get ready. Now, the plan for the next 6 weeks is to go as aggressive as I possibly can, and then I'm gonna have about 2 weeks where I will just kind of go back up to maintenance, restoring calories from the deficit towards a reverse diet and into a bulking phase, which is what I'll go into now. There's going to be a couple of rules to the bulk. Now, the first one is always just don't eat like an idiot. Okay, you can go very far on that alone. And what I mean by that is that we've all been through that phase in our early 20s where we just go down to KFC, to McDonald's, and we absolutely pile in the calories because you eat big, you get big, or at least that's what we were told. The problem with that is your body can only build so much muscle at any one time. And that's usually something around the 1% mark to probably 1.5% if you're lucky. Maybe you're a little bit less advanced of a lifter. That's gonna land somewhere around that kind of 2 pounds per month sort of range. And if every day you're going way past your calories and way higher than you need to be and just smashing out as much food as possible, you're gonna get a bit fat. So I'm still gonna be doing the same sort of things as I am now. I'm still gonna be tracking my calories. I'm still gonna be trying to eat clean. It doesn't mean that I can just go down to Chick-fil-A or KFC, McDonald's, any of the good stuff every day and think that I'm just gonna pile on loads of muscle because now I have all these extra calories. 100% does more calories mean better training? Does it mean more muscle? Yes, but only to a certain extent. And you're gonna have to remember that at some stage you're gonna need to cut down because you can't just bulk forever. You're gonna need to reduce some of the fat because ultimately you are gonna put on a little bit of fluff. And going back to what I said earlier, is that because your body can only put so much muscle on at any one time and the rest is just gonna stick around as fat, if you just go and do what's known as a dirty bulk, it's gonna make life a lot harder when you come to cut down again. And rule number 2 is that even with a newborn on the way and probably still feeling a little bit tired on some days, I'm still gonna be planning to hit every muscle at least twice a week. Hitting the muscle once a week is better than nothing, but ultimately it's not gonna lead you very far down the line if your goal is to look jacked. And yes, ladies, you are still going to want to look quote unquote jacked, but just in a slightly different way. Now, I do get it. You probably don't want to be walking through doors sideways. You probably don't want massive delts, but you probably do want big legs, for example. You probably want a nice bum. And so the same rules still apply. You still have to eat to fuel your training and grow muscle. Now, the rep ranges that I choose, they don't really matter too much about how you should train or anything like that. It's more about what I enjoy and what is my personal preference. So I tend to do something along the lines of a kind of a 6 to 8 to start with, 6 to 8 rep range, and then I'll move onto a lighter weight, and then I'll go something more towards like a 10 to 12, maybe a 12 to 15. It does depend very slightly on what exercise I choose to do. So for example, something like a leg extension, I will tend to go a little bit higher reps on that because I get a nice pump through doing it. I don't really see a lot of benefit in going for something like a 6 to 8 rep range for that. But if it is something like a chest press, for example, I might do something like a 4 to 6 and then work my way up. So that's just what works for me. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things how you set up your rep ranges. The training split that I go for is probably going to matter a little bit more towards you. Because for me, I will train something like 5 to 6 times a week, but I enjoy it. I go to the gym and I actually get a lot of enjoyment out of training hard, and I train quite often. Sometimes I actually train almost too often, and it can be almost detrimental to me because I struggle to recover the next week. So I have to dial it back a bit. But for you, that might look very different. You might only realistically have, say, 3 to 4 times per week, and then you've got to try and find the best split to fit that twice a week that I spoke of as a kind of a minimum or a baseline to work the muscles, to grow the muscles. You've got to find what's going to work for you. You've got to say to yourself, how much time do I realistically have to spend in the gym? What's my enjoyment level? going to be in the gym as well. Because if you're someone who doesn't love to be in the gym, to be honest, like you don't enjoy it maybe the way that I do, you might actually benefit from maybe just even a twice a week and just doing a full body or something like that. For example, if you're more interested in growing your legs, you might do 2 leg sessions per week and maybe just 1 upper body session per week, and then vice versa, obviously depending on what your current goals are. But for me, I currently opt for 3 upper body sessions per week and then 2 lower body, including arms per week. So technically training arms most days, but the reality is that you don't really train arms that hard when you're just doing bench press and things like that. So you want to try and kind of give them their own section of the workout. And speaking of training splits and recovery, then you can use some supplements to help with that. But to be honest, the best ones you can realistically use that are going to be lowest for budget, something like a multivitamin, something like a fish oil, some creatine and some protein. I'll go into that in another video, but for now, I would just stick with those 4. And the last rule is going to be patience. It's going to take time, it's going to be difficult, and there's going to be times when I want more to happen quicker. But rushing the process doesn't really get you very far. And to be honest, that's how you do end up back in that kind of fatty mess that you were in the first place. So have a little bit of patience, and that's how I'm going to progress my training and go through this bulk going forward. So I'm just going to go through those rules just one more time, just a quick recap. So rule number 1, don't eat like an idiot. We're not looking to get super fat. Rule number 2, we want to train each muscle, ideally twice per week. Have a little bit of patience, it's going to take time, and we can't rush, because when we rush, bad things happen. I think that's the most scientific way to explain that, and I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video.